He shaves clean because that's a
close
shot. Good Lord.
Penn State's going to arrive here in just about half an hour to get ready for this showdown against Ohio State. We're going to take you inside Skull Session a little bit later on. Eddie George will be here, our celebrity guest picker. David Pollack is here as well. This is your kind of day with all kinds of pass rushers.
It's beautiful.
Right?
It's beautiful, man. When you start to look at some of those beautiful pass rushers like Chase Young,
yeah, man,
it's a beautiful day.
You know, so many times on this particular week before Ohio State, Michigan, people get caught looking ahead. Will that happen to the Wolverines? They haven't lost to Indiana since Jim Harbaugh was a rookie with the Bears, but there have been some close calls in Bloomington the last couple of trips. You know, down 21-7 at halftime to Penn State, Jim Harbaugh said of his team, "This will be their finest hour." You might as well channel your inner Churchill when your team has looked sloppy and lethargic, not only up to that point in the game, but pretty much all season. And most of us thought, well, Harbaugh's resigned to a year of trying to make chicken salad out of chicken
stuff.
You know. Instead, Harbaugh had a completely different concoction in mind as the Wolverines have rallied.
Everybody wants to talk about, well, was it this?
We felt like he was just about ready last week, you know, and so he's fresher than ever and probably has a higher, snap count than if he had played a whole, last couple of weeks and had more reps under his belt.
I mean, you can't plant potatoes one day and expect to eat potato salad the next day. There's some time to develop.
Only him. Only him. I mean, did that come up to that in his head?
That
did he think about that one?
So horrible right there. Okay. But next time I see Jim, I'm going to go, why didn't you plant your potatoes earlier?
Yeah, you ain't lying.
The potato salad was due at the end of August, right?
Team better. What's the biggest thing? I mean, team's just been improving, been getting better. I mean, you can't plant potatoes one day and expect to eat potato salad the next day. There's some time to develop.
Only him. Only him. I mean, did that come up to that in his head?
That
did he think about that one?
So horrible right there. Okay. But next time I see Jim, I'm going to go, why didn't you plant your potatoes earlier?
Yeah, you ain't lying.
The potato salad was due at the end of August, right? Yeah. Hey, the week before Ohio State, as we mentioned, you see Michigan hasn't necessarily covered the spread. They got +7, Wisconsin 17, they lost. But the thing is, the trip to Indiana, the last 2 times they've been there, has taken a grand total of 3 overtimes, goal line stand, 4th down stops to get out of there. The Wolverines find themselves in a little trouble today, or a little trouble with this Indiana team?
I don't think so. And listen, you look at Indiana, and I think everybody looks at the 7 wins, and that's great. But, you look down that list, and it's Northwestern, it's Maryland, it's Rutgers. That's kind of what they've got hot against. Michigan's defense, I think, will show out today. I think they'll play really, really well. And we've talked about their offense turning around. Don't forget that Wisconsin game early in the season. Michigan got punked up front. I mean, they absolutely got punked. Since that point, they've been lights out. Yeah. They got cover guys and guys that can rush the passer.
Are you bringing up old stuff? See, there you go. Yeah, bring up the old stuff. I think this game has the potential to be a 4-quarter game because Indiana can't throw the ball. They have a relentless passing attack. They throw it up. Maybe you get a PI. Maybe a guy makes a play. They really don't care. Michigan's job today is going to be you have to turn the Hoosiers into a one-dimensional offense. Make sure you stop the run. And then that's when Don Brown's attacking defense takes over. They start to pressure the quarterback, get a couple of turnovers. I think this game could potentially be a 4-quarter game, but I see Michigan winning it.
See, I'm with you. I think it's going to be a little bit closer because of Indiana's ability to throw the football. The other thing, they're doing a great job. They lead the Big Ten in not allowing sacks. They only allowed 15 on the year. So they're going to get the ball out of Ramsey's hands quickly. But this Michigan team, they deserve a lot of credit for where they were early in the year and what they've done in the last 14 quarters, the last 3.5 games, peaking at the right time. They're going to win this game, but I think they're going to have to earn it.
Whop Phillier, the standout for Indiana, still in concussion protocol. I'm not sure if he'll be able to go. That's another weapon the Hoosiers need. As you see, the Penn State team bus, and Penn State is on the move. Nittany Lions rolling toward the old horseshoe here. This is the highlight game.
Here they come.
It gives you an idea what it's like on the bus, though. It's people wonder, are you talking? Are you hanging out? I mean, people are locked in.
There's not a lot of talking on the bus.
Or you do that.
Texting.
Probably texting a recruit in Kinnick Stadium today. A resurgent Illinois team, Iowa coming off that victory against Minnesota, and now Lovey's team already bowl eligible. going on the road.
How about it? Let's go back a long way. Ron Zook, baby. The last 4-game winning streak was with Ron Zook as the coach.
Deuce Williams.
Yes. Lovey Smith done a great job with Brandon Peters. They got the offense rolling. How about Iowa last week, by the way? Big win against Minnesota. They found a running game with Tyler Goodson, the true freshman. That kind of solidifies this offense and gets them in the right direction.
Michigan State and Rutgers, rough year for Sparty. They returned 9 starters on offense, including their quarterback, Brian Lewerke, but they still struggled. Their leading tackler at the time, Joe Bacci, he was Papa PD, suspended. They really struggled on defense. This team needs 2 wins to become bowl eligible. They'll probably get one of those 2 today against Rutgers.
Minnesota's at Northwestern. Wildcats have been hapless, but Tanner Morgan, the Gopher quarterback, in concussion protocol. They may have to go with a true freshman if Morgan can't go. Either Cole Kramer or Jacob Clark. He's got big-time receivers to work with. A couple guys getting close to 1,000 yards in Rashad Bateman and Tyler Johnson. Good news is they probably won't have to do much against the Northwestern offense that can't score.
Reese, how about Purdue and Whiskey? Could not be any more opposite schemes colliding. Purdue will throw it around with Aiden O'Connell. Better be ready for this pass rush. Wisconsin, Jimmy Leonard, he turns those linebackers loose. Bond and Orr. And, of course, there's old Jonathan Taylor. Back-to-back 200-yard games today. Make it 3 straight 200-yard games.
Look at these names that Jonathan Taylor is joining. By the way, they put 321 on the Boilers last year. 11 career games with 200 plus yards. That's tied with Ricky Marcus and Ron Dane. And then here, the 3-year yardage category, Herschel, Dane, James. This guy has been sensational. Still has a chance to get his team to the Big Ten championship game. They have to win and then beat Minnesota next week.
Yeah, I like Jonathan Taylor. You know, he struggled in the middle of the season, especially coming here in the shoe, playing against Ohio State, but he's one of the top running backs in the country. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to go up in that game against Minnesota next week, and they're probably going to beat Minnesota. They're going to be healthy. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have a big game today.
I think the biggest thing you said, too, was the 3-year deal. This isn't like you start comparing career.
Herschel, Dane, James. This guy has been sensational. Still has a chance to get his team to the Big Ten championship game. They have to win and then beat Minnesota next week.
Yeah, I like Jonathan Taylor. You know, he struggled in the middle of the season, especially coming here in the shoe, playing against Ohio State, but he's one of the top running backs in the country. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to go up in that game against Minnesota next week, and they're probably going to beat Minnesota. They're going to be healthy. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have a big game today.
I think the biggest thing you said, too, was the 3-year deal. This isn't like you start comparing career. Everybody's like, oh, well, Herschel only played 3 years. This is 3 years for Jonathan Taylor, too. These are historic numbers, like best ever in college football type numbers. It's pretty insane what he's been able to do.
He's played more games because the seasons are longer now, but the carries are somewhat comparable
Very similar
here anyway. And, you know, they're kind of back to their identity now.
You know, I also think if you really watched him, he's facing a lot of 8- and 9-man fronts.
12.
I mean, they don't throw the ball as effectively as you'd like to see. And I think teams are willing to take chances, and they put a lot of people up tight. Wisconsin's still able to run the ball. As I said, back-to-back 200-yard games, and it's the way he's done it. One of the classiest guys in the entire country. By the way, Minnesota, talking about the Gophers, they're 10th. And they have a game today against Northwestern. If they win that next week, they still have, I know they lost to Iowa, still everything in front of them. If they can beat Wisconsin, go to the Big Ten championship, they could be playing for right to still get to the playoff.
And maybe game day implications
Yes.
with that trip to Northwestern,
Yes.
too. You know how many points Northwestern has allowed to Minnesota the last 2 times the Gophers have come to Evanston?
How many?
0.
Zero.
Bear held it.
Bear,
What's going on over there?
Wow.
You're not taking the Wildcats?
This game, like, red sirens all over the place. Like, it looks like how is Northwestern compete in this game? But there's a number out there. Mark Lawrence, who's a handicapper, who has a lot of database trends and statistics.
What's he
He
saying?
has this, like, bubble burst theory that teams starting 6-0 after they suffer their first loss, it's like a 40% ATS proposition the following week, and they're 2-4 this year. So typically teams that lose their first games after a great start, maybe it takes a little bit to bounce back. So I'd be a little hesitant in laying the
Bear, what time's this game, Bear?
early, empty
11
stadium,
a.m.
tall grass,
Tall, wet grass.
cold,
Little sleepy.
Bear, just tell me they're going to win.
perfect Big Ten.
Hey,
Bear, they want you to run for
you're going to
president.
run 2020? There's a sign out there for you.
I'd love to. Bloomberg just got his way on the ballot. I'm independent.
You've got a better job now.
I do.
Give me a pick here.
Well, we talked about Indiana, another team from the state of Indiana, Ball State. 3-point favorite. It's 3's out there, 3.5, but I'll go with 3 at Caesars. Remember Buffalo, who that big lead last week, came back this week, won big, Ball State did the same thing against Central Michigan, blew a 17-point lead. They lost a couple of close games in a row. I think they're just better than Kent State, who had that big comeback against Buffalo. I think Ball State in that offense, I like the Cardinals today.
Cardinals.
There we
Ball
go,
State.
right there.
Aggressive bear. That's a grizzly bear.
You love the heavy-hitting logos right there today on Bear.
I just see a lot of birds.
Yeah, exactly, right?
we got Eddie George coming. We got Cardell Jones coming. We've got Bear getting out of the Bear cave later in the show. Wait do you see that? We're going to
rough him up in the octagon.
Take him out in the octagon.
full
See what's
uni.
going on out there. Full unit. Our corporate chef, Nick Allison, and Chef Jordan Branchick from Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse. That's a fine-looking piece of meat right there. Game day tailgate. Got tomahawk steaks, Dover sole, and a little sushi. Checking in at Section 0, we're sharing a Coke. We got I think Cardell Jones might be in the...
Oh, great.
Really?
Where's he in there?
Zeros. He in there? He is.
There he is.
All right.
There we go.
He's got Paris Campbell in there with him, too.